Good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to Change of Pace Live, your home of Pakistani cricket commentary, and we're coming to you live for the second T20 International between Pakistan and Zimbabwe. It's the fifth match of this Zimbabwe tour to Pakistan, and my God, have they been overwhelmingly enjoyed their stay here in Pakistan. A lot of centuries, a lot of good runs, a lot of young stars from the team in red coming through. Pakistan have won the toss today and have elected to field first, and Mohammad Hasnain, who has been the in-form bowler behind Shaheen Afridi, opening the attack for the men in green today. Pakistan are unchanged from that first T20 International, and Zimbabwe have made just the one change today. We'll read out the lineups to you as Zimbabwe scamper through for a single. The second delivery of the first Mohammad Hasnain over there, 1 for no loss here. See what the comments are saying. Abdullah Amin is here, All Might is here, Lala is here, Wajahat Ali Syed is here. Comment from Wajahat saying, क्या किसी को भी फहीम अशरफ में कोई खूबी नजर आती है? शायद मैं ही अंधा हूँ. Well, I feel like a lot of folks in the Pakistani think tank and the camp have been blinded by Fahim Ashraf's grace, for lack of a better term. And we spoke to Ahmed Hassan about this in the last game, and he said he was a bit of a hit-and-miss player and didn't see the full potential that others see in him. As this is wide outside off by Mohammad Hasnain. Should have been put away from the experience and class of Brendan Taylor, but it goes straight to the man at cover. Fahim is a bit of a tough spot for Pakistan, because he clearly has the potential. We saw it in his first Test match. We see it for Islamabad United, and he was instrumental in one of those PSL wins for the team in red at the PSL. And now he's just kind of died off a little. And you see sparks of greatness from him here and there, but it's just not consistent enough at the top level of the game. Hasnain gets the outside edge, and it'll run away to third man. There is a man there. It'll just be a single, and it's Fahim Ashraf in the floppy hat doing the fielding. Abdullah Amin asking for a stream. I think you're in Pakistan, because outside of Pakistan there is a YouTube stream for the game, which shockingly more than 100,000 people are watching for every game in this series. Just shows you the power, prowess, and popularity of Pakistan cricket. It definitely is one of the sport's premier international brands now. There's a good chance to play Musa as well, says Relukata. Not sure why they're playing Wahab against Zimbabwe. It's another conversation that we've had. It's a beautiful drive from Chibaba, but it's a good fielding effort at cover, and I'll just keep it to 1. Yet again, right now I'm still waiting on my co-commentators today. I'm Ahmed Jr., AZ Khwaja, Ahmed Hassan, all busy in their daily lives today, so I'm actually going to be doing a lot of back and forth with you guys on the comments, so keep them coming today, because this is a good one from Relukata saying playing Wahab against Zimbabwe is not. I wouldn't play as Wahab against Zimbabwe either. I think I completely understand. Someone like Riaz has definitely proven himself time and time again for Pakistan cricket, and playing him against the likes of Zimmers at home, with all due respect to the opposition, does not add up for me. He has game time behind him as well, because I know you play players to bring them back in form, but Wahab is in good touch, so definitely the likes of Musa, the likes of Haris Rauf has been given a go as well, and there's Ilyas in the wings as well. He hasn't been given a shot at the Pakistan squad yet, but there's plenty of pacers thereabouts in the Pakistan camp now to give Wahab Riaz a much needed and a much deserved rest. Ramiz is saying hi. Hi, Ramiz. Hope you guys are doing well. First over's gone here, 4 for no loss. And just speaking of pacers, Haris Rauf, the Lahore Qalandars premier bowler, discovered from one of their talent camps, and then tore up the Big Bash League a couple years ago, and has fast-tracked his way into the Pakistan green. Frankly speaking, there's a lot of folks working their way up through the meritocracy of first-class cricket in Pakistan, but Haris Rauf, with his exceptional talent, has bypassed that, and no doubt a lot of the Lahore Qalandars inside edge and onto the pads. Chibaba definitely struck in front, but he got a big chunk of the bat there, so Pakistan will not be going upstairs. But with Haris Rauf, it really is a very interesting career trajectory. You come to think of it, this man was nowhere on the scene a couple years ago, and is now becoming at least in the top 5 or 4 pacers that Pakistan require. And with the likes of Muhammad Amir fading away, and rightly so, it's a personal choice of him to fade away from Pakistan, and Haris Rauf is really taking this chance by the neck, as he should. Outside edge, and it'll go to third man. But I want to ask you guys this. I want to ask the commenters what do you guys feel about the likes of Haris Rauf? And I don't mean to be personal about Haris. I'm just using him as an example here. What do you guys feel about cricketers in Pakistan that fast-track their way into the national side because of arguable exceptional talent? Do you think that that shades the system that you have in place in terms of the Qaid-e-Azam Trophy and National T20 Cup and the entire first-class circuit? Or do you think that, we need the best men in the country to play for Pakistan, and it's as simple as that? Wide outside off, outside edge, he's gone. Haris Rauf picks up the first wicket of the day. Taylor did not look like himself today. You saw that earlier in the first over against Hasnan, and that was a nothing delivery. He didn't have to play at that, and if he did, he should have put it away for 4, but he's got the outside edge, thick outside edge, and Mohammad Rizwan, who's been Pakistan's #1 keeper throughout the summer and now the winner of home cricket, will take a comfortable catch the National T20 Cup winning captain. And that is first blood for Pakistan in this second T20 International. 5-1. Zimbabwe are staring down the barrel now because this is an experienced batsman for them. This is where a lot of their runs come from. But that will, I think, bring Sean Williams to the crease. 5-1 Zimbabwe after 1.3. We'll go back to our conversation about first-class cricket and the first-class system, and if men that are playing outside of that system are exceptionally talented, should they be fast-tracked, or does that throw shade on a lot of the bowlers and the batsmen that are struggling day out and day in the first-class structure to make it to the Pakistan team, which essentially is the pinnacle of cricket for any Pakistani cricketer? 5-1 after 1.3. Let me know your thoughts on that. And let me know your thoughts on today's music. I tried something different here. When I'm usually I've got AZ and Ahmed Hassan breathing down my neck about playing modern music, playing it to the gallery. Played some classics today from the 70s and the 80s. I'm a big sucker for those. Good delivery again from Haris Rauf. This time it's just opens the face of the bat to Sean Williams. Plays it down to third man for a comfortable looking single. And he's a good one, Sean Williams. He's got a lot of cricket underneath him. 42 matches, 42 innings. He's got an average of 24. That's actually not accurate of his batting ability, considering he got that match-winning 100 at Rawalpindi just a few days ago. But that from Brendan Taylor is, dare I say it, Virender Sehwag's or Fakhar Zaman-esque, because his feet were going absolutely nowhere. And he just felt the need to slash at that. Not even slash, he just left his bat hanging out there with the nothing delivery, really. Another good one from Haris Rauf, looking a lot more accurate today. Remember, he conceded 9 off of his first over the other day, but this is a good shot from Chibaba on a good delivery. Turned it into a bit of a half volley, opened the face of the bat on the cover region, and it pierces the infield for 4. And Relu Kata saying Haris Rauf does not look too ready. He was poor in the PSL as well. Hasnan should play ahead of him once Shaheen is back. I definitely think that there is merit to what you're saying there, because Hasnan was exceptional the other day, and he's doing well with the opening the bowling as well, which is an important part, and which is a little bit of a key that Pakistan are missing if Imad isn't opening the bowling with Shaheen. And Lala is coming through with a good comment here. I'll read it after this delivery. Last ball of the second over, and he'll end it with a bumper. And that will it be given a wide? No, it's not. 2 overs gone in Zimbabwe, 10-1. Lala saying talent fast-tracking happens in every company profession. The challenge for Pakistan is identifying the correct talent. We're poor there. We look at social media posted videos and pick people in national teams. Right, I see where you're coming from there, and I also think that there's a lot of media prowess that goes into fast-tracking these careers. With all due respect to Haris Rauf, he did have Lahore Qalandars, and as a result, Geo Network singing his praises, and obviously a lot of those were well-founded because he is an exceptional talent. But yeah, you're right. I think there needs to be I'm not saying there needs to be a rubric per se, but there needs to be some sort of framework to identify talent and if possible, fast-track them. And Ziggy's here, evening Shahino. And speaking of Shahino, Shaheen Afridi is finally being rested from professional cricket. He's not going to be playing tonight's T20. This is flicked off the pads by Williams for a comfortable single. Ralph was carrying an injury at the PSL, Prof. Chimi. That's a fair point, and it's something that you need to consider with all sports. I was actually speaking to, and I'm going to have to do a segue and digress to football here, but speaking to a lot of Real Madrid fans the other day, and they were talking about how Eden Hazard's been lackluster for them. And, it's an outside edge. It's a nothing shot again from Chibaba, but he's a little bit more lucky than Brendan Taylor. It was a hard slash. He went hard at it. And then it flies over that first slip, and it goes for 4. Doesn't matter how they come for Zimbabwe as long as they're coming right now, because, again, that was a nothing shot from Chibaba. The feet going nowhere, hard slash, and didn't really hit anywhere near the middle of the bat, but still gets a boundary off of that, and they really won't mind that. Khwaja Saab is at the car insurance company. He's been a busy boy this afternoon, so he might join us later today. If not, it'll be just you and me. Another short and wide delivery from Hasnan. That's a poor one again, but does not cash in. Does Chibaba, and it's a good fielding effort from I think Khushdil Shah. Yeah, that's Khushdil Shah there at cover doing the fielding. Media agendas, yeah. We've definitely talked about them. There's a bunch of them from each city, and now with the PSL franchises, I've actually spoken to the guys about this off air, that I don't think that sponsorships for PSL teams and partnerships from PSL teams should come from media companies, because that kind of hurts the integrity of the competition. Short, and that is another poor delivery, 3 in a row from Hasnan, and this one also goes for 4. Williams, he's in sublime touch right now, gets on top of that, pulls it away. There's nobody at mid-wicket, and that'll be 4 more runs to Zimbabwe and 4 more to Sean Williams. And umpire Ahsan Raza at square leg. It's a valiant effort for him. This man has been through a lot for Pakistan cricket. You need to mention him when the history of Pakistan cricket is written, when the history of the revival of this wonderful game is written in our country. He's now become the most capped umpire in T20 internationals, 50 of them for him today, as this is flicked off the pads. And might I remind you, he was at the forefront of that god-awful evening in Lahore when the Sri Lankan team were attacked, and he took a bullet. He took a bullet for Pakistan cricket, for lack of a better term, and he bounced back, and now he's done 50 T20 internationals. Really is a hero of sort, a cult hero of Pakistan cricket. And Abdullah Amin saying the social media has a lot of impact with the fast tracking of talent too. Performing in the PSL and performing even better at the national T20 would be a different thing. A few PSL performances would create a lot more noise than a string of consistent performances in any other domestic event. What a shot that is, Chibaba. I said he got an outside edge earlier, but there is nothing half-measured about this shot. Middle of the bat, over the bowler's head, over the umpire's head. One bounce to the side screen for 4. And Mohammad Hasnan, who's got, I think, 90% of his face dipped in sunscreen today, is made to look like a clown right now, because that is an absolutely gorgeous shot from Chibaba. And that over is going to bring a lot of respectability to this power play for Zimbabwe. A couple back-to-back boundaries here. Now, Abdullah, I'm gonna throw a spanner in the mix on your comment, because I do think that performances here and there will definitely have more impact than other, and that's simply because of the degree of the contest you're playing. Now, obviously, it's not the World Cup, but if you were to score a 50 or 100 at the World Cup final, that would mean a lot more than you would do in a bilateral ODI series. And I think that same comparison could apply to the PSL versus the national T20. You got another outside edge and another boundary. This one is a lot more calculated from Sean Williams, and Haris Rauf does not have a sip in place, and he cannot bowl there. Another shorter length delivery, and a batsman of Williams' class is just gonna cash in every day of the week on that one. That's another 4. And they're gonna have to retrieve the ball themselves. There's COVID regulations, means no ball boys. A lot of cardiovascular activity for the men on the ropes for Pakistan so far in this innings. 29 for 1 after 3.1. So yeah, I think definitely the PSL, we've got 80,000, 70,000, 50,000 people in the stadium packed, and watching you play, that performance is definitely going to mean more. Should you be selected for the Pakistan Test side because of your performance in the Pakistan Super League? I disagree with that. I don't think that is a possibility. It's definitely not a healthy standard to set for the highest level of cricket. You need to be a little bit more introspective about that and pick players that are better with the red ball game, because yes, you have all-time greats that are good at almost every form of cricket. Babar Azam, one of them, Shaheen Afridi, the other. But most cricketers in the modern age do have a preferred format, and maybe you need to sit down and see where each one of them fits. And recently you've seen some of them don't even want to play the Test format. In the air, it should be the second wicket. It is. One shot too many from Chibaba. It was a short delivery. It should have been pulled away better, but I think it was a slight change of pace that Chibaba did not read, and he went early into the shot, hit the top of his bat, and mid-wicket, it's just there for catching practice at this point. That is an easy catch, probably one of the easier ones that will be taken by the man in the floppy hat, who I think that is Khusro Shah that's taking the catch. No, it's Fahim Ashraf that is in the game again, and Haris Rauf picks up his first wicket of the day, 30 for 2 Zimbabwe, and again, that is a great metaphor for Zimbabwe cricket, looking good but not succeeding as well as they should. Chamuchi Baba, 15 off 9. Was looking good, and he should have stuck around longer. Zimbabwe 30 for 2. As Renukata saying, Pakistan should change their batting order today and give chance to Rizwan and Khustil to bat. You need to give these guys chances to play against Zimbabwe if both are in your plans. I reckon, that Rizwan is definitely in Pakistan's plans. I don't think he's going anywhere, because I don't see any keeper that is near his stature right now, despite Sarfraz Ahmed's renewed fitness levels. He does not have the batting prowess that Rizwan showed in the National T20 Cup. However, they both have very similar weaknesses in the sense that they both struggle to clear the ropes, and even though they do keep the scoreboard ticking in T20 cricket, like I said yesterday to Khwaja, that the run rate and the strike rate is definitely a lot more important than the average, and just being there, whereas in one-day cricket, or especially in Test cricket, just hanging out in the crease in a while can actually do your team a whole lot of good. As Haris Rauf will continue here, wide outside edge. There's no second slip as Babar Azam, the captain, will just watch it go past him. Haris Rauf, hands on his head, does not know what's happened there. But Mataveri, who got 70 in the last game, was definitely Zimbabwe's player of the match. Has got off to a streaky start here, but again, he will not care how they come. And Lala is that saying Haris Rauf celebrating Rohit Chibaba's wicket. I mean, he gets to celebrate every international wicket you do. I mean, a lot of times I see a lot of tweets and a lot of articles, not in articles, but I'd say a lot of opinions about players celebrating 50s or celebrating hundreds or celebrating wickets and stuff. And I think you need to put it into perspective a little. And the perspective is that a lot of these players have gone through hell and back to make it to this level. And you just want to enjoy it when you're there. It really isn't about the opposition at that point. It's just when you get to that moment, when you cross that finish line, when you hit that 50 to raise your bat in the Pakistan green, you just want to soak it in every way you can. And some people are a little bit more boisterous about it than others. When you look at Babar Azam and even the likes of Misbah Haq, Misbah didn't have a lot of loud moments. It was. I remember the push-up celebration and the salute celebration, but that was pretty much it. I'll take a look at Inzamam Haq. He's got more than 80 half-centuries in one-day cricket, and he wasn't really a big celebrator. But personality is what makes a sport, so I think you let it flow a little. 36 for 2. Where's everybody listening from today? Let's hear it, because it is a beautiful, overcast, cloudy day here in Dubai. And once this game is over, I am probably going to take a drive to the beach, because it is we love the rain here, even though it does often cause a little bit of a traffic delay and traffic jams. But I absolutely love the rain. Growing up in the desert, growing up in Saudi Arabia, and now here, it's the thing I look most forward to throughout the year. It's such a beautiful piece of the weather. And I know we have listeners in Europe and England and some from Canada too that absolutely despise it because of just the abundancy of it. But over here, it's a rare commodity. Fahim Ashraf, medium fast, will come around, right arm over the wicket. Quick single taken off of his first delivery. Zimbabwe are 37 for 2 after 4.1. send in, let me know where you're listening from. If you're listening in from Pakistan, and how things are going there, and what the weather's like there, because it is a beautiful day here out in the UAE with the side of E. Abdullah's asking, how many years did you live in Saudi for? That was basically my life. I spent there all of my life there until I moved here. So that was about 15, 16 years, yeah. I moved here in my late teens as a student, and that's it. 37 for 2 after 4.1. Fahim Ashraf right arm over the wicket. And another wild slash from Mataviri. The Zimbabwe batsmen are really, really in a hurry today. And they just need to get themselves in and then play better shots and make better decisions. Prof. Chimi listening in from Englistan. I have to say, Englistan by Riz Ahmed, one of my favorite rap tracks. And I think that was his best work as well. Such a great video as well when it came out. Ziggy and All Might listening in from Lahore. I hope none of my fellow Karachiites are listening, but I think Lahore is quickly becoming one of my favorite cities in Pakistan, even though I've only been there twice, as this good-looking drive straight to mid-offer single. It just has so much soul, Lahore, and I feel like cosmopolitan centers all across the world get taken away by the industry and the business around them, and obviously Karachi is a juggernaut in that sense. But there's things about Lahore that I still feel are kept, and what I mean by that is that it's still raw, it's still there. It's nice to see things that haven't been altered or maybe even have been renovated. So it really was a pleasure visiting Lahore the two times I went there. It was absolutely gorgeous. And also being a Punjabi by heritage, I did feel very much at home, and the portion sizes there are remarkably large, I have to say. Even for somebody used to American food, I was overwhelmed by the amount of food that is consumed in Lahore. 38 for 2 after 4.4, and Abdullah Amin listening in from Karachi, the city of lights. Absolutely love Karachi as well. All of my family's there. One of the best cities, I would say, in the world. Oh, inside edge, bowled him. Fahim Ashraf's amongst the wickets, and Pakistan are running through Zimbabwe here. Sean Williams, who was supposed to anchor this innings, has chopped on to Fahim Ashraf, and another nothing shot from another Zimbabwe batsman. Really should have done better there. Open your body up, play it onto the offside, even flick it to the leg side. The options were plenty. There wasn't enough pace on that ball to be dismissed off of it, but Williams found a way to find the inside edge of his bat and ricochet it on the middle stump. So every single bowler for Pakistan has picked up a wicket today. Hasnan, Haris Rauf, and Fahim Ashraf now in the wickets. 38 for 3 after 4.5. As Pakistan dominating proceedings so far. All right, Abdullah, I gotta ask you, because I think you're the only fellow Karachiite on the listening stream right now. What has to be your favorite thing about Karachi? What stands out for you? Because I hear a lot of different perspectives on the city, and I won't get into the details of how the city's been managed of late, because that's a passionate affair, and a political one too. But there's still a lot of good there. So tell me what you think is the stand-up point for you. 38 for 3 after 4.5. Sikandar Raza has come out to bat. And speaking of Lahore, he is from the beautiful city. He really has been a mainstay in Zimbabwe cricket, and all the turmoil they've been through. He's stuck around and done well for them. And he's even been around for a couple PSL seasons, if you remember. 36 matches for Sikandar Raza, an average of 13. Again, does not really portray the quality of batsman he is. I think he's a lot better than those numbers showcased. And a strike rate of 105, the best of 59. He has enough time to better that today, if he really does stick in there and apply himself. But this pitch does not have any demons, I have to tell you that. These 3 wickets have been largely due to the lack of batting prowess that Zimbabwe have shown today. Pakistan have been okay, they've been good, they've been regular. That was something that you would expect from a top team like them. But Zimbabwe have self-harmed themselves today. This is driven back to Haris Rauf, who, I've mentioned this, Wahab Ria, is the second change for Pakistan. the left-arm fast bowler. Phenomenal numbers, an economy of less than 8, an average of 25. He's been around the block a few times as Wahab Riaz. A veteran cricketer by every sense of the word. You wouldn't tell by his hairline, though. He's renewed that recently, and he's looking good. He's definitely got a wonderful looking hairline. Now, inside edge, and it misses the middle stump, and it misses short, fine leg, and it'll go for 4, and it's Khusrul Shah doing the running. A chunky fellow, Khusrul Shah. He's short and stocky and slightly muscular as well. Sikandar should be considered for the PSL. Yeah, I think he has featured in the PSL in the past. I think Donald Tiripano today is the new player for Zimbabwe. He did not play the first T20 international. Back of the length play to backward point, and another jaunty-esque effort, but it misses the stumps. One for the cameras, I have to say, didn't really affect too much. Sorry, Mohammad Hasnan has not awakened here. It's 2 for Haris Rauf and 1 for Fahim Ashraf. Well, Mataveri again. He's a young man. He's only 20 years of age. Wesley Mataveri, but he has this ability of making his shots look a lot more responsible than some of his colleagues, and he has that deft touch as well to pick up singles, which is going to come in really handy for him in the longer format of the game, as well as situations like these in T20 cricket. So we've got Karachi, Lahore, England. Not enough European representation today, although we usually have somebody from Holland, somebody from Germany. I'm always astonished at the amount of Pakistanis I meet that are settled down in Germany. Is it really that nice there? 44 for 3 after 5.4. A couple deliveries left at the till the end of the power play, as this is driven well by Mataveri. Again, a photo finish of a shot for no run, and I like to call that the Ahmed Shahzad. Good shot for no run. Yeah, look at that. Youngest batsman to score a half century for Zimbabwe, Wesley Mataveri, right up there. Brendan Taylor, the second best in 2007. He's got a lot of potential, this man, and I was speaking about him earlier in the one-day internationals that maybe, just maybe, you give him a shot as a silver pick in the PSL. You need these kind of players. Another beautiful drive, but there's enough protection. Now on the offside will be the captain that'll do the fielding. 45 for 3. The power play is just finished. We're going to take just a minute off here and come back in just a couple minutes. Welcome back to Change of Pace Live, your home of Pakistani cricket commentary. Fahim, 4 balls into this second over. He's got a wicket for 10 runs. Zimbabwe 53 for 3. And Mataveri really needs to stick around here. He's got a good start and needs to just apply himself, as this is a front foot defense evading a diving Fahim Ashraf. What do you make of Dilbar Hassan, 150 bowler, 150 kilometers per hour for Dilbar Hassan? I do not recall that. I remember him being in the late 130s and early 140s, but definitely not faster than that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm missing something here. But definitely was a feature of the resurgent Lahore Qalandars side in this PSL. Him alongside Ben Dunk and a little bit of Sohail Akhtar put that team together. And of course, Shaheen Afridi is their best player by some distance. Swing and a miss. Wild swing by Sikandar Raza playing across the line there. Not a good shot at all. Raza moves to 2 off 5. Mataveri 18 off 12. Zimbabwe 53 for 3 off 7 overs. So I've received a lot of videos and a lot of content from what seems to be, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, what seems to be a marital affair, a marriage in Lahore, and I have to say, some of the acrobatics at this wedding have surpassed the PSL opening ceremony. And I think maybe we should just get these guys to come out and do it next time around, because it really looks, if you were to define over the top, I think you'd see these videos alongside it, because it is remarkably loud and large. Usman Khadir, in his second T20 international for Pakistan, has been dismissed for a massive 6 over mid-wicket in his first delivery of this spell, of this match, in fact. And Mataveri, again, looking like a dangerous batsman out here. I have to say, that was a loosener from Usman, a very, very poor delivery. And any batsman would dispatch that for 6. I can think of a few Pakistanis that would play it straight into the hands of mid-wicket, but Mataveri has the strength to go all the way there. $59 for 3, 7.1. But yeah, so we did have a couple of Lahoris here, inside edge onto the pad. So I want you to logically explain how you end up getting married in a way that is more exuberant than the PSL ceremony. The onus is on you, the two Lahoris. In fact, let me scroll up and see what your names were. All Might and Ziggy. You two are responsible for what looks like a catastrophe. This should be a wicket. It has hit him straight in front. Hassan Raza is unmoved here, and I think it just might be slightly outside off, so they're not going to go upstairs. No, Babar's turning away, so is Usman Khadir, but a decent shot. Too many poor balls today by Pakistani bowlers. Zimbabwe is not cashed on. Yeah, that's actually a fair point. Even Hasnan, who was exceptional in that first T20, was a bit wayward in the second T20 international today. Needs to do a little better, do the Pakistanis. Usman Khadir continuing here, much better from him. Good flight, full delivery, and well fielded off of his own bowling to end that. 59 for 3 after 7.4. Take a look at that shout. Oh, they should have reviewed this, Pakistan. This was struck him right in front. I think this is out. I think Pakistan have missed a chance to dismiss Wesley Mataveri, and this is going to be twice in a row this has happened, as another inside edge ricochets off Mataveri's pads. If you remember that first game, that first T20, it was a serious problem, because I thought there was a stumping they were inflicted that it wasn't given. But take a look at this review, and it was out. It was 3 reds. Babar Azam, Usman Khadir, and Mohammad Rizwan both have fluffed this opportunity to dismiss Wesley Mataveri. This is a criminal effort from them, as Usman Khadir continues to get a lot of turn here with the googly. And despite that 6, it's a fairly economical one. It's just the only runs that have come off of that over. It just goes for 6. 59 for 3 after 8. Yeah. They fluffed a chance to get Wesley Mataveri twice in a row now, Pakistan. And he made them pay last time. Might as well do that again here as well. And none of the Lahoris are speaking to my question about the wedding. They have no explanation for it. It's just exuberant disdain for humanity. At this rate, Zimbabwe will climb all the way to 148, but they're probably looking at 160 to push the Pakistanis into a corner here. That top order of Pakistan, specifically Babar Azam, as that sounded like side from Wahab Riaz, a customary wide from the senior youngster. Yeah, Zimbabwe probably looking at 160 plus today. Wahab Riaz this time gives him room, a good fielding at point. I think it's Fakhar Zaman, the ex-Navy officer, doing the fielding there. What is the lockdown situation in the UAE, Ramiz is saying? We do not have a lockdown here, Ramiz. There's a lot of guidelines that are being enforced in terms of how many people can gather, and masks are an absolute certainty. Hefty fines if you don't wear one of those. There is an element of social distancing involved wherever you go. And I think that's just it, because economically that was a prerequisite here for the UAE. And that's a beautiful shot from Sikandar Raza, finally getting into his own here, but Wahab allowing him to do so. That was too short and too wide from the senior youngster, and he's gonna hit that for 4 India of the week. Is Sikandar Raza. He's been around for too long to miss out on that. Continuing is here Wahab Riaz, and he just opens the face of the bat to point and will run through for a quick single. This is smart batting. This is effective batting. Three wickets have fallen so far in this game, and it's been Haris Rauf with a couple, and Fahim Ashraf with one as well. And Haris Rauf, as usual, very boisterous in his celebrations. Did Wahab get a hair transplant? I mean, that is one of the most obvious questions in Pakistan cricket right now. He clearly did. There's no way that has grown back naturally. Defended back to the offside for no run. Again, Wahab Riaz, his fastest delivery today, 143 kilometers per hour. That's a lot. It's quite quick, even for somebody his age, especially somebody for his age. 13 runs off of his 1.5, but sometimes he gets a little bit of stick for being too expensive. But considering that he bowls in the death and he bowls in the middle overs as well, his economy is still less than 8. So I think he's that's really not warranted, that criticism of him. And Wasim Akram on our TV screens. It's always a special moment for the change of pace clan, the Kalai God as we like to call him. 8.5 overs gone, 65 for 3. Wesley Matavere 24 off a 20. Wahab Riaz into his second over has given away 13 runs, and he beats the outside edge of Matavere's bet. 9 overs gone, 65 for 3. Dad look, Wahab was deadly. He really was. I felt like his receding hairline brought more pace to him. It was just more aerodynamic for his bowling. Whatever works for him, though. If he's feeling good about himself, I'm sure he's bowling better, too. Right then. We are just a week away, actually less than a week away. It's just 6 days away from arguably the biggest event of the year, the Pakistan Super League playoffs. And the two of the big boys are already out. If you remember, Islamabad United, two-time champions, already out of the tournament. And reigning champions, Quetta Gladiators, are also out of the tournament. So if you were to take equal probability for all four teams, we have a 75% chance that we're going to have a new champion this year. Lahore, Karachi still yet to get off the mark. The Multan Sultans, the new kids on the block, also have an opportunity. And it's the mighty Peshawar Zalmi, who I've always said are definitely the strongest brand of the PSL. And this time, bowled him. He's got a wicket here. Usman Kader finally picks up a well-deserved wicket, but it's Sikandar Raza who he gets. Knocks back the middle stump. And I'm not sure what Sikandar was looking to do there. His head was going towards mid-wicket while his bat was facing long off. And he's made a meal of that delivery. The flight has enticed him, and it's taken off the bails. It's another wicket that Zimbabwe have lost a bit senselessly. And honestly, they're not really too far behind a desired run rate here. They can make 65 for 4 and 9.2. They could easily accelerate that and go to 155, 160. But a rush of blood from Sikandar Raza will leave them reeling. 85 for 4, 65 for 4 now. Yep, Ramiz, Chadwick Walton, Cameron Delport, Rabi Bopara is also here. The Karachi boys are in, and they're in numbers. Just read that Hassan Ali, again. Where did you read this, Ray Lukata? This is news to me as well. That the fact that Hassan Ali is out again for 6 months. Well, that is unfortunate. You have to remember, 3 years ago, this man was ODI Bowler of the Year. And now he's just nowhere near to be found. I'm a big advocate for Hassan Ali. I think he's got a lot of personality. He's got a lot of skill, definitely. He's a good mix as a future young Pakistani cricketer. And it's very unfortunate the trajectory his professional career has taken. And I would actually call out a little bit of the PCB rehabilitation staff, because it's not just Hassan Ali that has had reoccurring injuries. It's a few other players that seem to be going through this awful cycle of never being completely in form. Saqib Mahmood has come in for Livingstone for Peshawar Zalmi. Yeah, so it's one Englishman for another. Lala's asking, is Azhar Mahmood the culprit? I wouldn't say it's specifically Azhar Mahmood. I think there's obviously a huge team of medical staff and physios that go behind the Pakistan team, and I saw this with my team in football too, with Chelsea. When we lost our physio, there was a bit of a full delivery, big appeal given. SN Raza is in the action again, working those delts, because that is struck in front. Mataveri, the massive wicket, the big man for Zimbabwe, has been dismissed. I think he should review this, because there might be a chance of it being outside off. So he should go upstairs. He has gone upstairs. In fact, Burl is the new batsman in for Sikandar Raza. But if Zimbabwe lose this, then we might be looking at a very short game, folks. Mataveri trying to play a sweep shot across the line, struck in front from an Usman Kader delivery, and he could be out here. And I think he might be safe. He might just be safe. He's got a little bit of that pad outside of the off stump, so it could be striking him outside. Let's see what happens here. Meanwhile, Ramiz Hassan saying that Azhar Mahmood is the culprit for every single thing. It's a bit of a stretch, Ramiz. I think we're all a little bit responsible for our own destiny. If you're having a bad day, Ramiz, don't blame it on Azhar Mahmood. Although you can blame him for a lot of other things. Aleem Dar is the man in the third umpire's booth here, who's taking a look at the inside edge first. I think that is going to be... So he's saying... Aleem is saying that there's no contact, even though there's a bit of a spike. I don't think it's not large enough to overchange a decision. Let's see what ball tracking has to say. We're still waiting on that. Meanwhile, the conversation on Hassan Ali is continuing as far as putting the onus on him. The fact that he didn't improve his game after the Champions Trophy and didn't increase his pace and didn't develop any swing. Well, he only had a few games after the Champions Trophy, Faris, so I think he would have gotten that wake-up call, and you can't... It's difficult and a little bit harsh to blame injuries on the players themselves, especially where you can see Hassan Ali working day and night on his fitness, and that is in line, so it should be out. It is. That is hitting the middle of middle. Zimbabwe will also lose a review, so salt in the wounds there, as Wesley Mataveri, Zimbabwe's definitely the best batsman of this series, has to go back after a good-looking 24 off 22, but his team would probably have wanted more from him tonight. Zimbabwe are reeling. They are desperate now, 66 for 5. Yeah, he went to a full New Zealand tour, but I think that tour was about 3 to 5 games. I don't remember that tour being that long. And Hassan Butt coming in with a prediction. Hello, I'm going to make a bold prediction and say that whoever wins the eliminator between Peshawar Zalmi and Lahore Qalandars will end up winning the PSL 5. You heard it here first. Frankly, Hassan, this is not a radical prediction, because in the past, in the PSL, we've seen that happen. Teams that are coming in with form behind them end up doing a lot better, end up succeeding a lot more than the teams that have just been comfortable at the top of the table. I read somewhere about the weights workout, which is so he got injured while weight training. See that for me is a mistake on the trainer's part, because if he has a trainer, he should be looking after him. If you're doing hypertrophy or if you're doing weight training, it's vital to get your form right rather than just keep increasing weight and resistance. That management of the muscles is so key, because it can affect your joints, it can affect your stance and your ability of being mobile as well. Elton Chigambura, another household name for Zimbabwe cricket, comes out to the middle, and him and Burrell have a massive task on their hands here. They're 66 for 5, and they're looking to recover. I mean, it wasn't a fight, Faris. I think it was a bit of an altercation. He's referring to Hassan Ali's little bust up with Sarfraz Ahmed. Prof. Chimi and Ziggy both saying that Lahore looking strong on paper. They have a tendency of doing that, and then they do flatter to deceive a little. Lahore Qalandars. .66 for 5 after the halfway mark in this innings. Burrell and Chigambura are going to have to rebuild, and really there's not much to that scorecard. Taylor at 3, Chibaba 15, Williams 13. Mataveri was the only one to look good, 24 off 22. Sikandar Raza hit Wahab Riaz for a boundary, but then got dismissed, 7 off 10. It's been a nothing effort from Zimbabwe this afternoon at Rawalpindi. And speaking of Rawalpindi, this is only the second T20 international that this stadium is hosting. And one thing I will say about Pindi, in the last year where Pakistan had their first full season at home, I noticed that the crowds were by far the most spectacular in Pindi, and not just in numbers and size, but in voice and personality as well. So shout out to Pindi, looking like a true and through cricketing town. And I've actually never been to Pindi. I've been to Islamabad. Islamabad was gorgeous for somebody from the desert. I have to say, a beautiful city. Greenery all around me, hills rolling by, and the Pakistan Monument was a nice place to visit, and felt like a tourist in my own capital. But definitely a beautiful city for somebody who's grown up in the desert. Watch a video about Rashid Latif and Hassan Ali's workout schedule, says Lala. Could drop the link on the chat. I'll have a look after today's game. Faris Nadeem is saying, thank God Shadab is back on track. He needs to stay away from Hassan Ali and Fahim. Yikes. You are, I'm a big believer in the fact that you are an amalgamation of the people that you surround yourself with. So I get where you're coming from, Faris, although I don't think that they're a particularly bad influence. We haven't heard any bad things about them in terms of personality or dressing room antics. Khwaja Saab is not here. No, he's not. I'm still waiting for him. He is running some errands this afternoon, to say the least. 10.3 overs gone. 69 for 5. And Hassan Ali's on my mind now. Mohammad Hasnan into his third over. Hasn't been amongst the wickets today and has been slightly expensive as well. 2.3 overs, 22 runs. What do you guys make of Usman Qadir so far? We've got he's bowled 6 overs in international cricket so far. A wild slog across the line from Chigambura. Can't get close to him. Rahman's injury, Lala, was a very serious one. I've seen those happen even in sports that I've played. Your knee gets stuck in somewhere, and that's a hard one to recover from. And the fact that he's still in rehabilitation does not surprise me. Although I want him to be back sooner rather than later, because if you add Hassan and you add Rahman into the mix of an existing pace battery that Pakistan have, we're looking good then. I am not aware of Fahim Ashraf's stories. Maybe there are. I mean, I'm not a big fan of like dwelling into people's personal lives. I think that's something that they deserve to have, because all of us are. I have some aspects of our life that are more boisterous and more unorthodox than others. So there's no need to ostracize him for that. As Hasnan will continue into the body of Chikumbura, and they'll steal a single here and move in to the 70s for Zimbabwe. 70 for 5 after 11 overs. Yeah, Lala, I agree with that, saying that Usman Khader does offer a couple of easy deliveries every over. Need to improve, otherwise very promising. Yeah, when he's on song, those 4 deliveries that he does get right, he does look good. He does look like he'll entice the batsman, and I like the confidence that he has in terms of the flight that he offered to Mataveri in that last over, and the flight that he offered to Sikandar Raza as well. And again, it takes a lot of confidence for a bowler to bowl with that flight. Frankly, the other leg spinner that I appreciate in that regard is Yuzvinder Chahal, the Indian leg spinner, who does that very well. He's brave in his behavior with the ball, in that sense that even if he's getting hit, he will offer batsmen the ability to go big. Back of the length this time from Usman Khader. That's a bit of a loosener, but they'll come through for a single. Oh, they'll get some overthrows here. A bit of a poor effort there from the man at short fine leg. Usman Khader does not look amused. And Chikumbura coming through for a couple. Not about Fahim's personal life. Well, if it's not about his personal life, then I guess you could share it with us. Zen is quoting Harsha Bogli on something, and we'll read that in a bit, as this is a leading edge from Chikumbura, the point for no run. So I'm a Harsha Bogli fan. I like the way he sounds. I think he's a lot more articulate than a lot of other commentators and thinkers that we get from across the border. And he's saying that Hassan Ali was finished before his injury, and Bogli said that Pakistani bowlers are flashy and flamboyant, and this might be another wicket here. No, it's been grasped, but I don't think he got there. Heather Ali at deep mid wicket doing the fielding. We'll have to take a look at that. And Burl was the man. Chikumbura the man who went big towards mid wicket, and no, Heather Ali with a valiant effort, but definitely not getting anywhere near that. No, I'm sorry, Fakhar Zaman, not Heather Ali. Yeah, so Harsha said about Pakistan having flashy bowlers that produce a very high quality, but they don't have a long shelf life now. Now that's interesting to say, because I think of Shaheen Afridi, who's into his 2nd year of international cricket, looking like he's touched wood and crossed all the toes and all the fingers. That he looks fit enough to play long seasons of cricket, which is difficult to do. Think of long seasons of sport. You think of basketball, and even though it's a 40-minute high intensity game, they play a lot of them throughout the year. And you just think of some of the greats, and Kobe Bryant, the late Kobe Bryant, and LeBron James, and watch a lot of their interviews, and they all say conditioning is almost as important as skill, sometimes even more so for the likes of LeBron, that are also naturally very talented. The ability for him to be an MVP at the age of 30 plus is because of the fact that he doesn't get injured. And you also think of Ronaldo and Messi. They have so many goals because they play so many games, and the fact that they can play so many high-intensity, top-level football games is because they're so fit. So, in that regard, I do agree that athletes that respect their profession, and athletes that respect the amount of time it takes to stay fit to play, to stay fit to enable yourself to be a player, it's a massive effort. It really is. He was under rehab at the NCA, says Faris. In the middle of rehab, he left the NCA and went to his village, came back injured. Wow. This is news to me about Fahim Ashraf, and if this is true, I don't think he was centrally contracted that year, so... Pakistan have gone upstairs here. They've gone upstairs here for an Elton Chigumbura review that I thought was definitely high. I didn't even mention it because it was above the knee roll. There's no bat involved for sure, although Aleem Dar looks a little bit more... sounds a bit more circumspect than I do. Yeah, Prof. Chimi, Kohli's a big example for that. I recommend all of you to go listen to Virat Kohli in the episode that he did with Breakfast with Champions. Really an eye-opening interview. A couple of things that I got that were my takeaway from that conversation that he had, a very candid conversation. And this was, I think, before he became a juggernaut of an Indian brand. His fitness, the fact that he went vegan in his diet and how his food was energizing him rather than making him slow, and his commitment to strength training and conditioning and keeping a low body fat percentage, and that enabled him to perform well. And the other key takeaway for me was his life partner and how she changed his mentality and helped him succeed and get through a lot of mental blocks. And that's, like I said, it's going high past the leg stump. It'll be a review wasted for Pakistan. A little over-ambitious Usman Khader, but he's only in his second international game. Will allow some of that ambition, especially if Pakistan are dominating proceedings here. Zimbabwe 74 for 5 after 12 overs. Chigumbura and Burl in the middle. No, you're right, Faris. So I agree with you. The reason that I mentioned that he wasn't contracted or not, because if he was contracted, then PCB could actually penalize him as his employer, where in fact, if you're not contracted, I think the legalities around that are a little bit in the air. Zen saying, having said that, Shaheen is a different breed and we need to protect him at all costs. His fitness needs to be checked on a regular basis. We cannot lose him like Hassan Ali. I 100% agree with that, Zen. If I had it my way, I'd wrap Shaheen Afridi in bubble wrap every night he went to bed, because he really is that precious to Pakistan. And I always say this to AZ Khwaja, who's telling me about how talented and effective Shaheen is. For me, what's really the silver lining, and it's a fairly thick silver lining about Shaheen Afridi, is his fitness and his discipline, both on and off the field, with his training as well. He's got a champion mindset. He's got the mindset that I'm sure the likes of Wasim Akram had. And I know when I mentioned Wasim Akram, people think that he was overly skilled and extremely talented, and both of those things are true. But he was an athlete's athlete. And the reason I say that is there's a video on YouTube that'll back this up. It's a athlete's game show on Australian television where he's taking on a sprinter and an Olympic jumper of some sort, and he beats all of them. He beats all of them in this game show, in this little acrobat arena that they've got going. And I'd like to think of cricketers that are in Pakistan cricket right now that would be able to do that, and I can't think of many. So Wasim Bhai, with all of his swinging prowess and pace and round arm action and just the magic of it all, behind it was a lot of discipline and a lot of athleticism that he worked towards. It's not just being born with the ability or miraculously being sent from the gods to you. It's a little bit, it takes work and it takes effort and it takes a crazy amount of discipline. 75 for 5 after 12.3 overs. Elton Chigumbura struggling to get a move here, just like his team. His strike rate is fairly poor. Yeah, Shankar Basu, good little shout here from Faris Nadeem, and in fact Shankar Basu comes up in that same interview. He is a strength and conditioning coach, and because of him, Kohli's power hitting improved immensely. Babar does need that coach, and so I'm a big fan of weight training myself, but frankly I do it more for the mental relief that it gives me, and just to look a little better, and not because I'm looking to be a performance athlete. And those two things are very different, because when you're training to perform in a specific sport, then you're looking to keep your heart rate up in training and focusing on muscle groups that will help you perform in that particular game. So I think somebody like Shankar Basu, and I think there's somebody in Pakistan have got to be there, that can help Bobber do that, because he's got all the shots, he's got the timing, and it reminds me of that 6 he hit in that final ODI against Zimbabwe. No strength behind it; it was just pure timing. So if he adds the power element to his batting, I think he could be a world beater, and more so than he is even now. He could be legendary. 77 for 5 after 12.5 overs gone. Chigumbura 6 off 13. Burlow 6 off 7. Meanwhile, Wasibai will say he had a chat with himself in the morning. Honestly, Zan, that's not a bad idea. Talk to yourself, and talk to yourself positively. That really, honestly, is something that works for me. It sounds crazy. It sounds insane. But I think you've got to be your own friend. You got to back yourself. And Wasibai doesn't seem like the man, like the kind of man short of self-confidence. So he definitely, even though you said that in jest, I think there's a little bit of truth to that. Having conversations, positive ones with yourself, it changes your outlook on life. 78 for 5 after 13 overs. Zimbabwe struggling big time here. If they get to 120, 130, I think it'll be a success for them, considering where they are at this stage. Speaking of weight training, speaking of training, what do you guys do for fitness? What is your go-to? Maybe you like to weight train. Maybe you're into calisthenics. Maybe you're a Pilates person. Maybe you like what's that crazy form of weight training that I'm not a big fan of? CrossFit. Maybe you're a CrossFit person. Maybe you're a runner. I've met a lot of my friends that are long distance runners, and I don't understand what goes behind that and how people enjoy that. But hey, to each their own. Drop it in the comments. Tell me what you like to do to keep your fitness up. 78 for 5 after 13. Usman Khader is been struck by the ball on his shin, but it seems to be a hamstring problem as well. They're having a look here, the Pakistani physio. Faris is saying, I like to improve my endurance. Abdullah Amin is a runner. Abdullah, how far do you run? Are you a 5K or 10K? Are you a half marathon? Full marathon? I have a lot of respect for people that can do half and full marathons. Longest I've ever ran is 6 to 7K, and I was thoroughly beat after that. I'm a big fan. For me, conventional weight training. I like my 5-day splits. You got your legs, back and bis, chest and tris, your shoulders, and your arm days. It's just, I love those. It's a regimental training. You wake up in the morning, you associate your day with one of your body parts, and you go at it. Obviously, you mix that up with a little cardio. It's just very fun. It makes you feel strong because you lift heavy things, and it's mentally very freeing as well. Abdullah Amin, 4 kilometers in the morning. My goodness, I tip my hat to you, sir. Definitely not been a runner. 13 overs gone, 78 for 5. Usman Khader is going to start his final over of his spell, and Elton Chigumbura and Burl will face. Live from the Rawalpindi Cricket Stadium, you're listening to Change of Pace Live, your home of Pakistani cricket commentary. Right, Zan is saying, for conditioning, I like to run, but only on weekends. I am not that active, but now I do cycling with my friends. So yeah, cycling is a good one. Cycling is a good one, and I used to do that here out. Actually, there's a couple tracks here in Dubai. There's ones right in the middle of the desert. Some gorgeous viewing if you go on either side of the sunrise or sunset. It really is a beautiful track, about 40 to 50 kilometers. Not that I always did the whole track. But yeah, cycling is a good one. But you do have to find the right seat, Zan, or else you do disturb the furniture a little bit, if you know what I mean. 80 for 5 after 13.2. Elton Chigumbura, 8 off 15. Usman Khader continuing in what is not just a wicket-taking spell, but a very economical one. He's just given away 13 runs in his 3.2 overs. I just try to eat healthy, which is obviously hard to do when you're a Lahori, says Ziggy. I do running too at times. Eating is very important. Massive shot. Just as I was singing his praises for being economical, Elton Chigumbura has heard us and dismissed Usman over long lawn for a half a dozen. That is a gorgeous shot from him. And a bit of a loosener from Usman, I have to say. A lot of room given to the Zimbabwe veteran. And it was a googly that was turning into the right-hander. So what do you do for your endurance, Faris? Do you play tennis and squash? Is that you're mentioning that, and weight training puts too much stress on your back? I'd like to argue that because I think with weight training there's a lot of taboo around it. I'll get to that now as this is runs away for another boundary in the fine leg, and I think there was a little bit of inside edge on it, so it will be runs to Chikambura. Yeah, more runs for Zimbabwe, and much needed runs, I have to say. So the weight training and the gym, they get a lot of bad reps. They get a lot of bad reps because of the intimidating physicality of the people that partake in them. First thing I'd like to say that those communities at the gym, or those weightlifting communities, are probably some of the most positive ones that I've ever experienced. No matter what your size or what your build, there's always people there to support you and lift you up. And honestly, it really is positive reinforcement if there ever was one. That is a wide though, I have to say, from Usman Khader. And for the back thing, oh, got him! It's another wicket for Usman. That is a beautiful delivery, turning away from the right-hander. Chikambura thought it was going to be a googly, tried to play straight to it, and then almost tripped over himself. Usman Khader is having a wonderful afternoon out here at the Rawalpindi Stadium, and he picks up his third for just 23 runs, and it's the experienced Elton Chikambura that's been deceived by the conventional leg spin of Usman Khader, and it's Babar Azam, who a close friend of his, doing the celebrations with him. 90 for 6 now, Zimbabwe. Very one-sided affair this afternoon. Zan is saying, my daily fitness routine is cursing Salman Iqbal. I don't know how healthy that is, but I definitely see where you're coming from. Zimbabwe 90 for 6. Now that comment about the back that Faris said. First of all, I know where you're coming from. There's a lot of legitimacy to that thing, but form is hugely important. I could repeat it like a million times, and it'd still be a million times less, because a lot of us will go out there, we'll go into the iron paradise and focus on how much weight we can move. And again, I understand that's important and it helps the mind, and it also feeds the ego a little bit. But it's really, really crucial to keep a form for each exercise to the best of your ability. And if you do, I wouldn't say it eliminates the risk of injury, but it definitely minimizes it to an extent where exercises become doable. But it's good to see that almost everybody listening in is keeping busy, is keeping moving. We've got tennis players and squash players and runners and cyclists, so it's good. It's happy to see that, because I think there's a lot of docileness in our lives, with our professional lives and the TV that we watch, and a lot of the interactions that we do now are completely digital too, considering the pandemic and stuff. It is important to keep moving. Fahim Ashraf into his fourth over as well. He has, with all the criticism that he does often receive, and rightly so, he's having a good day today out at Rawalpindi. He's only conceded 15 runs in 3.2 overs, and also picked up a wicket. So, done well for himself. Yep, Zan saying Usman Khader has had a couple of good games, and it'll increase his confidence, and Pakistan may have another good spinner on their hands. Now, one thing that AZ Khwaja mentioned yesterday that I vehemently agree with, as Donald Tiripano makes his way out to bat. What I really agree with here is putting pressure on Shadab now. Shadab was the top wicket taker for Pakistan in their last series, so his place in the side definitely not been questioned. If you take into account his recently found batting prowess at number 4 and number 5 for Islamabad, and somewhat so for Pakistan too. You need to put pressure in all positions. You should have 22, 23 players and 2 starting lineups at this level that you can field at the international level. And Pakistan have the talent for that. But Shadab seemed to be in no danger of his spot, regardless of his bowling form. And I think Usman Khader might just change that perspective for him. Not that I'm saying that he was complacent, but it definitely is on the back of any professional's mind when competition increases. Yeah, All Might referencing one of my retweets on the duo of Esamul Haq, and I actually slips my name, slips my mind his Indian partner's name. They won the Wimbledon doubles a couple times, or once, I think. But yeah, no, I mean, frankly, it's not about nationality. If you're winning trophies, you're winning trophies. Right? Rohan Bopanna, his name. Great tennis player, him, and is one of India's best, actually. Yeah, it could complement Shadab Khan's bowling, although I rarely see Pakistan going into a game with two leg spinners. Maybe in the upcoming India T20 World Cup, that could be an option. We saw it the other night in the IPL that one of the teams was playing with three leg spinners, so there's definitely opportunity there for Usman Qadir, and leg spinners are never out of fashion, in my opinion. They're someone that every team needs, as he makes room here to Rapano and drives it. Bit of a miss hit to mid-off for no run. Faris is saying, just compare Hardik Pandya and Fahim. Hardik, when he first came in, bowled around 120 and could only bowl 130, could only hit 130k bowlers. Now he's improved a lot. Bowls around 135, and probably can hit any bowler in the world. Went after Cummins in the World Cup. Now, I think there's a lot of warranted criticism of Fahim, but I don't think that Hardik Pandya is an exceptional cricketer by any stretch of the imagination. I think he's definitely a great hitter of the cricket ball, and he knows how to clear the ropes, and that's something that Pakistan could definitely use, but I have very little confidence in his bowling. As a bowler, I would pick Fahim 9 out of 10 times if it was Pandya and Fahim to choose from. A measly looking Manhattan for Zimbabwe in the second T20 International against Pakistan. Their innings has been a stop-start one. They've lost wickets at regular intervals, and besides Wesley Matavere, nobody's gone at a respectable strike rate. And I don't think that they're going to get any desired result out of this match this afternoon. Anybody from Islamabad or Pindi on the chat? That'd be a interesting thing to see if you'd gone to the Pindi Stadium and soaked up the newly found atmosphere there in the last year and a half. Beautiful drive this time by Burrell, who's playing a similar innings than the one that he played in that first T20. It seems to lack the ability of batting at a quicker pace. Zan is saying he's from Pindi. Well, welcome to you, Zan. And shout out to Pindi. Pindi, again, one of those cities that prides itself upon a unique culture, I say, to put it lightly. .97 for 6 after 15.1. As this is defended back to Hasnain for no run. .2 overs gone. 97 for 6. Mohammad Hasnain into his final over as well. So it'll be Wahab Riaz and Haris Rauf to bowl the final the final 4 of this innings. Tirapano 3 off 5, Burrell 10 off 10. As this is just open the face of the bat to point for a quick single. Mohammad Hafiz doing the fielding. And this is the direct hit. Zakaria Khalid talking about the OG T20 tournament, the Faisal Bank T20. We watched a lot of those matches in Pindi, so I'm presuming, Zakaria, that you were a Rawalpindi Rams fan. Decent T20 side, decent outfit. No Sialkot Stallions, of course, but the Rams had their day. Flicked off the pads by Burrell, and it will be another single. Maybe Zimbabwe are looking to play this deep and go after Wahab Riaz towards the final few overs. He does have the pace that you can manipulate into boundaries and stuff. 99 for 6. Tirapano and Burrell at the crease. Mohammad Hassan has had a fairly forgettable game this evening. Just 26 runs off of his 3.4 overs, but no wickets to his name. A bouncer this time into the throat of Tirapano and just played the third man for a single. Guys, do you remember KL Rahul on his debut performance against Australia? Or when he was in Hyderabad? Just look at him now. How do Indian players improve so much? KL Rahul, again, somebody that I've been following his career. I think he's actually a better T20 batsman than Virat Kohli. And I attribute his success to his fitness as well. Just that you've mentioned Shankar Basu. It really, it's not just a physical thing, this conditioning. It's a mental thing as well, because you start doing clean and jerks, and you start doing rows, and you start doing sprints, and you start seeing your cardiovascular health improve, and you start seeing quantitative improvement in terms of the numbers you're locking in the gym and on the track, and the beep tests, etc. And I think when you're out batting and when you're out bowling, you remember that. You have that in your mind. And we all know how much of this game is played in the head of the batsman or the head of the bowler. And if you've got that space up there, clear and positive, I think you just get exponentially better. We saw that with Kohli. Whether it was through his marriage or his relationship or his fitness, it worked. And I think I could say the same about Rahul, because he's so focused on his fitness. 101 for 6 after 16, and AZ always says this, and there's truth to this as well, about fitness not being the primary factor in the success of a cricketer. It should be talent and ability. When you look at the likes of Rohit Sharma and Zamal Haq, or right now, if you take a look at the son of Moin Khan, his name is Azam Khan. They're not the most athletic looking cricketers out there, but they definitely have a lot of ability. The problem I see with that, and it's not a personal attack by any stretch, but the problem I see with that and the precedence that is so awful with that is you have to be exceptionally exceptional to play at this level and be unfit or not be at prime fitness. For 99% of athletes, you need to be at prime fitness. You have to have something so extraordinary to overlook the clear lack of fitness that you carry around, that it's for me it's frankly unacceptable, and I think it's becoming increasingly unacceptable for most teams and most athletes, and it's something that I really enjoyed about Mickey Arthur's tenure with Pakistan, that he was adamant about the fitness of his players. Now obviously if you've got a Virender Sehwag or an Inzam Abul Haq and they're packing some extra poundage, it doesn't mean you should drop them, because those two players that I've mentioned are not just phenomenal, they're legendary. So you can't ignore that. But with the game now evolving and changing, you take a look at the likes of Jesse Ryder, you take a look at the likes of Mohammad Shahzad from Afghanistan. They didn't make it to that top level, and I think a lot of that has to come down to their fitness. Ziggy's coming around to that wedding video that I was saying. Very interesting. 107 for 6, as Ramesh Raja has called Haris Rauf's bowling zest on air. Azam Khan will lose his ability if he loses too much weight, because how many players get that strong base which makes their head stable while playing shots? I gotta disagree with that, Faris, because there's a massive difference between weight loss and fat loss. And this is a thing that I was discussing on air yesterday with the commentators. Some of them were complaining about how slow Azam's weight loss has been, and I said that's probably because he's not losing weight, he's losing fat. And when you focus on losing fat, you don't automatically look super skinny immediately. It takes time, and you build, and sometimes it can take 2 good years when you look start looking like an athlete. So I think it's a good arc that Azam Khan has embarked on, where you look at Sarfraz and he looks like he dropped a lot of weight, and with it, he lost a lot of the muscle that he had, and he was never a good six hitter, and now I think he's become even poorer in that department, which is it's a bit of a struggle. 109 for 6 after 16.5. Yeah, again, those are good names, far as Inzamam 03, Nasser Jamshed, but what's the difference? But you do need to identify the difference between weight loss and fat loss, and people like Basu, somebody you mentioned yourself, will help you do that, will help you construct a long-term plan that will let you keep your strength, let you keep your center of gravity, but also become leaner and faster and quicker and stronger. So they're not, Prof. Chim's asking fat loss is much faster than muscle gain. It really depends on your body type. If you're an endomorph, then you retain muscle a lot longer and thereby also retain fat. And if you're an ectomorph, you lose both quicker. And if you're in meso, you're usually in the middle of both. That being said, there's not just 3 categories of bodies. Most of us are usually a hybrid of the 3 of them or the 2 of them. Jesse Ryder does have a sad story, Omer Shirazi. I did know about this, and there's a lot of other background information that goes on to the kind of career that he had, and he still plays cricket. He plays a lot of indoor cricket now, actually, Jesse Ryder. Nelson for 6, our Zimbabwe after 17 overs. Zan is saying, meanwhile, Shajil will lose his hitting power if he loses his TID. Well, this is a problem that I think with, I know Zan is saying this in jest, but I look at Khurram Manzoor and I look at Shurjeel Khan, and a few games will pass and they'll come out in the media and they'll say that they should be selected for Pakistan cricket, and everybody has the right to say that, but commitment to the cause, as Faris has repeatedly mentioned today on the stream, is important. And when I see Shurjeel Khan, who wasn't playing cricket for 2 years, which meant that he had 2 whole calendar years to just focus on his fitness. As a professional, he doesn't do anything else. As a professional, he could have changed his outlook. He could have changed his physicality. He could have come back as David Warner or like Aaron Finch, like Faris mentioned. But he comes back after 2 years, and he looks even chubbier than he used to. That for me is a red flag. That's as a professional, that's a red flag. It just means that you don't put your eggs in this basket. You don't care for your international career, and if you don't care for it, then frankly nobody else should either. 113 for 6 after 17.2. I still remember watching David Warner's debut for Australia, and again, Australia notoriously known for their fitness in the early 00s and the mid 2000s as well. And I saw him and I said, okay, this guy can clearly bat, but he's got a little, he's a bit chubby. He's a bit chubby for the Australian team, and 3 years later, he's one of the best athletes in the international circuit. And I think that's been dropped, just running backwards to the edge of the circle. Tirapano trying to go inside out, but no control over that. Basically, sun's up. Zimbabwe's batting today, going nowhere really. 115 for 6. But just take a look at David Warner's fitness arc. Dig up a photo of him on his debut, and then 3 years later, 4 years later, he's so lean, he's so strong, and he doesn't fit any of those narratives that we're propagating about Azam or Shurjeel losing their hitting ability. Has David Warner lost his hitting ability? I'd say he's actually improved. As Durapano also improving in this innings, driving this straight to long off for 4. Another boundary, 119 for 6 after 17.4. It's a couple of good shots here from Turipano, and it's been the feature of Zimbabwe's innings. And you'll see a little bit of talent here and there. You'll see the sparks of brilliance even with the bat and with the ball. We just saw a lot of that in that third one-day international. Wahab now going to continue here into his third over, and doesn't get a hold of that, then it won't even go to mid-wicket. $119 for 6, and somehow Arif Lohar has made his way onto the chat. Slashed hard at it this time, and it'll go down to third man for a single. Khurjil Shah doing the fielding there. 2 overs left to end this first inning. Zimbabwe 120 for 6. Burl and Turapano have taken this total to at least better than run a ball, and they might actually be able to push it to 140, maybe even 145 if they get another loose Wahab Riaz over. Where is AZ Khwaja? That is the question of the afternoon. He is out running some errands. We tried to rope him in, and if he doesn't come back for the second innings, we'll probably call it a day from our team, because it is fairly exhausting running the match as an individual. But we'll be back on Tuesday for the final T20 international between Zimbabwe and Pakistan, because we've got to build up to the playoffs of the PSL. Swing and a miss by Turapano, and Haris Rauf is into the 19th over here for this first innings. Right then, folks, we're working on a podcast series for you as well. We're trying to bring on some guests and understand what you want to listen to and who we need to discuss cricket with. What I want you to do, and help me out here, because I have to go out and find these people, so please make them accessible. Don't put Imran Khan and Wasim Akram. Legitimately speaking, who do you want us to bring on as a guest on the podcast? If you can give me 3 names each, that I can have a look and see who we can bring on, and maybe we can bring all of them on. So far, we've spoken to Machel St. Patrick Hewitt from the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. That was one of my favorite discussions, if not the favorite. We spoke to Bazat Khan about cricket commentary and the developing of production capacity in Pakistan, and then we also spoke to Freddie Wild during the England series about Crick Whiz and Wind Whiz and the arithmetic that goes into the modern game. So we're looking for new guests, and your suggestions are welcome. Let me know what you want. If Lahore reaches the final, Khwaja is always here. He is always here, and he will be here for the next game, and he'll be here for the PSL as well, and we'll have a capacity crowd for the PSL. Prof. Chibi saying, is Donald Trump doable? I feel like he might have a little bit more time on his hands now, so that actually might be viable, although I'm not sure what I'm going to speak to him about on a cricket podcast, but I definitely think he'd still be an entertaining guest. Well, yeah, I think he'll stick to the commentary, will AZ Khwaja, if Lahore do reach the final. 18.1 gone, 120 for 6. Rizwan a little bit bruised on the ribs after that ball kind of creeping up on him. Good defense there from Burl. A chance for a run-out. Ours will not throw. Right, so I said no superlative names. Right now we've got a sitting president of the United States and Sachin Tendulkar. So, great, guys. Very realistic options that you're presenting here. 120 for 6. After 18.2, I do appreciate the shithousery on change of pace sometimes. It's what we live for. It's what we enjoy the most. Turapano 15 off 16. Arsalan Ash, actually, we did speak to him. We want to bring him on. Something we will look towards, actually. But I know that another show did a nice number with him recently. As that has been smashed straight to the man at cover. It'll be an easy catch, although it did come at speed, but it was straight to Fakhar Zaman. Haris Rauf will get another wicket here. He'll pick up 3 this evening at Rawalpindi, as Zimbabwe slide further. Khwaja one-on-one with Aqib Javed. I have a feeling that I'll need to moderate that, because that could go south very, very quickly. So yeah, but no, I think we could definitely see if we can get Mr. Aqib Javed on the chat, maybe after the PSL, to have a reflection. Azhar Mahmood, goodness gracious. Again, another conversation that I would have to moderate. And we are already in chats with Sean Masood's team. It's just sometimes with players that are PCB contracted, it takes a little longer, and there's a lot of red tape around it. And we don't actually have the media credibility that some of our older colleagues do. They've been doing TV media for 20, 30 years, so they're a lot easy to approach. We're the newbies on the block, so we have to pull a lot of strings to even get to a conversation with these gentlemen. Rashid Latifa, good shout. Yeah, okay. Rehan and Chima. Yeah, they're actually, I would go as far as saying they're friends of the show. So definitely a possibility. I was actually thinking maybe we can bring them on as guest commentators. This innings, this match kind of fizzling out unless Zimbabwe pulls something remarkable out of the hat in terms of their their bowling performance. 121 for 7 after 18.4 overs. Ralph 3 for 27. He's had a good day out as it's a full delivery, a bit of a swing and a miss. Saeed Ajmal, the Jadugar, yeah, he's got time on his hands. Nabil Hashmi, the Quetta manager, Zain is suggesting. Nabil Hashmi as well is a good one. I think he's also a friend of the show. Harish Ralph a little unlucky there. Should have gotten another wicket, but just barely missing Burrell's off stump. This is smashed past Harish Ralph. What a shot that is. And it'll go over the bowler's head for four. It's a bit of a tennis forehand smash from Burrell to get a boundary. Is one of the first ones of the day for him. As Zimbabwe now getting close to that 140 mark. It'll really help them. They'll have something to bowl to. So Frost Nawaz after a couple of soft drinks. Yeah, that'll be a show and a half. Please do a one-on-one with Sir Hill's voice note. In fact, it's been a while since we haven't had Sir Hill on the show. He's in Abu Dhabi, and we don't see him as often because of the pandemic. But we'll give it a shot. We'll try to rope him in, as they say. 19 overs gone. 125 for 7. The final over now definitely going to be bowled by Wahab Riaz. And he's going to look to keep Zimbabwe to less than 140. Wide outside off, and it's a bit of a nothing shot from Chisoro. Gets another dot ball. Another Babar Azam 50 on the cards, I guess. Have Umar Gul maybe. Yeah, we could reach out to him. Arguably, definitely Pakistan's best T20 player. One of the best pacers ever to play for Pakistan as well. And a very, very anti-Pakistani legend because he's quiet, somber, disciplined. Who stays within himself, isn't very loud in the media, and the other fast bowlers in Pakistan history have been the complete opposite of that. 125 for 7 after 19.2. I like that about Umar Gul. Where's the hockey section on the website? That was my favorite. It still should be up there, actually, and I don't think I've changed it yet. And no YouTube channel either. Yeah, he doesn't have a YouTube channel, at least not yet. Not the best speaker on my goal, to be honest. This is a hoiked away, no-look shot to find leg for at least a single. The hockey section is still there. What type of cricketers do we have at the change of pace team? Let me go through it. Easy Khwaja, I think, middle order batsman is what he told me. And Ahmed Hassan, he's a bit of a Abdul Razak. Or maybe Hamad Azam would be a better fit. He does both, and he's actually very good at both. I can bat anywhere, but I don't bat very quickly, so I probably would be better in the middle order than the lower order. And I bowl a little lousy off spin, as most people that don't know how to bowl say. So that's me as a very, very ambitious cricketer, but let's just say it's just the ambition, not the skill. 127 for 7. 19.4 overs gone. Burrell and Chisoro out there. And Sirkil actually a pretty handy lower order batsman. A bit of a hit and miss. I've played a lot with him, and sometimes he clears the ropes, and sometimes he just misses completely. But he is actually a very an exceptional fielder, especially a catching fielder. He's taken some one-handed blinders for our team many a time. But he's also dropped dollies, so a bit of a hit and miss, but yeah, definitely would have him in the outfield any day of the week. 128 for 7, last ball of the innings. 19.5 overs gone. Burl on 26, Chisoro off 3 on 3. Yep, Zakaria is right. Jisko kuch nahi aata, wo off spin karata hai. That's basically me. But I have a good shooter, and I have to say, what a shot that is to end the innings from Burl. He gets it on a good length and smashes this over long on for a half a dozen. And Zimbabwe will end up at 134 for 7, courtesy that exceptional strike. And Wahab Riaz looks fairly upset with that final deliveries effort. But that'll be from us so far, 134 for 7. If I don't get a call commentator, then you'll have to excuse me for the rest of this game. And if I do, we'll be back for the second innings. Until then, I'll leave you with some classical music, because there's nobody else here, so I can play whatever the hell I want. Apna khayal rakhein, stay safe, wear a mask, and we'll be back either in 15 minutes or on Tuesday for the final T20 International.